finals notwithstanding, their hardest, their toughest matchup so far, the one that's pushed them the furthest, they did overcome it on this map in particular.
5, 4.
You see it reflected there in the matchup statistics as well. Blank 100% win rate. They've been here once against Mega. And for DeToNator, they haven't been here at all. It's going to be the DeToNator special, hard dive, not even with the Mora, no mercy either. It's the straight classic.
And neither of the teams are going to be pulling out the sort of...
This flank, by the way.
Yeah, this is a great flank. I'm loving this. But I was going to say, neither team's pulling out the Reinhardt Zarya thing, which is actually a strategy that Blank could fall back on here. But it's Apache, the first casualty, the wraparound. The flank has worked. They've got Tahim as well. So far, kind of an unmitigated success for Blank.
It's a little messy from DeToNator.KOREA because they shouldn't have been able to basically see that Blank were not there. If Blank are not meeting you on the point, where could they be? Somebody look down the hole. Maybe you'll see Blank. It seems a little strange that that one went unnoticed. And for Blank as well, it's a big risk. What if that flank doesn't pay off? You've wasted a lot of time on that.
It's like that old Chuck Norris joke, right? If you can see Chuck Norris can see you. If you can't see Chuck Norris, you're seconds away from death. That's kind of what that was for Blank there. Like, I feel like the moment the penny dropped, like, wait, where are they? And suddenly they're on your back line. And there they are. This time it's just right on the front line, piling on in. Absolutely no hesitation. And already DeToNator.KOREA licking their wounds. And
Blitz is now onto the Sombra as well, going into fight number 2, which means he's definitely behind Huss. We're back into that Sombra EMP sort of gameplay now, trading EMPs with you. Well, one Sombra gives it to the other one. Now, Blank Esports, not only do they have that advantage, they also got the objective.
Just starting to cycle into these ultimates, which means the window for DeToNator.KOREA fast closing. In fact, now it has closed completely.
Here we go.
Straight in. There it is, on top of a lot of them onto the back line as well. They're going to force some ultimates out of Blank here, though, I think, if Blank really want to make it stick. Or maybe not.
Yeah, there's a
Speaking of stick, yeah, and Tahim is... I don't know if that was intentional or not, but certainly it is a fight lost there again. This is a big snowball now for Blank.
We're about to head into the 80% mark, which means once again for DeToNator.KOREA, kind of looks like the Ilios thing all over again. They just seem slightly behind the 8 ball on those control maps. So right now, Blitz needs this EMP, needs to get this against Blank Esports to find this win, and then maybe DeToNator.KOREA finally get that cap.
This is where it can happen for DeToNator, because that other window previously, it did close. They lost that fight, but another one now open.
Oh, Huss here.
Oh, yeah, Huss here, and Blitz. He's popped his translocator up here as well. This isn't ideal. Apache's already down as well. Ooh, just avoiding that hack, but it does mean Blitz is not in position to ideally use that EMP. They have traded, though, onto Tongue, but Modern now Primal Rage has been popped. This is Blank with quite a window in their own right. Sound barrier from Sleepy Bear, legs in the fight now. Kura probably needs to respond in some capacity. Who was out of the picture, was not able to self-destruct. I think Blank are actually quite happy to let this one go, but you can tell ideally they wanted to get that EMP from Blitz. Blitz not using that is actually really big for DeToNator here.
It's absolutely huge, and this is where the discipline from DeToNator really looks good, right? Because in another scenario, maybe Blank Esports would have been the ones to use it. We've already seen that happen on Dorado when Huss felt pressured to use an EMP onto B to cap out B. Now coming in for DeToNator.KOREA, they get to match Huss's EMP now.
That being said, it's really all they've got here, at least until Apache gets that Transcendence. Blank, if they can find a window or even just get the first EMP with no risk of counter, they're in a good position, but they're looking to pressure out Kura here. DeToNator rightfully so. Tahim's the casualty, but there's Zaidi up and Kura both down, which means a lot of those ultimates not on the board anymore. Huwu, I believe, was right-click hacked out there, so no self-destruct, and actually Blank just kind of wasting a lot of their own time with that one.
But this is the thing, neither team wants to be the one to use an EMP, because then you give the other team a big advantage. For Blank, they want to come into this fight, force ultimates out of DeToNator.KOREA, force, importantly, the EMP, then Blank get to come back in, win with their own EMP, cap it out. They're already at 99%, but DeToNator.KOREA, again, the discipline is ironclad.
And there's Blitz with the aggressive EMP, and that's going to be another good fight win for Blank. The actual saving grace of that, funny enough, that was such a quick fight win. Blank get another fight here with their EMP while DeToNator's is down. That is exactly what they wanted.
But I want to tell you the difference. This isn't a forced EMP. They didn't force Blitz to do this. This is DeToNator.KOREA being aggressive. This is DeToNator.KOREA being proactive and saying, we're going to use this EMP to charge the other ults to get ourselves ahead of the game. And now they have options against Huss.
And they could well just look to do that again, but Krong is actually out of the picture already. This is the sound barrier out of Kura as well to give them plenty of room in the fight. There's the EMP from Huss to look to close it out. They've lost AU up, but they're still getting conversion. They're looking okay. Apache, he doesn't really have too many people he's saving with that Transcendence there. Has now run out.
Good hack.
Yeah, good hack on Tongue. I mean, credit where credit's due, but this is still the fight going the way of Blank. 99% up now. DeToNator going to need to stall out with Krong and Modern here, and Blank do still have tools here in the fight. Blitz, good hack on Huwu, and that's the self-destruct from Krong. Needs to get conversion. Oh boy! He may have just done it, but is Huwu going to answer back in kind? He's currently hacked. He needs to outlast that one first before he can use that. IU up is dead as well. There's the self-destruct from Huwu. It buys them space. He gets Modern and Krong's back. That's a double whammy, but they've lost the DPSs that could maybe follow up. Trill's still trying to dive back into this fight. It's just the supports for Blank holding on for now. They've drawn some extra ultimates out of DeToNator.KOREA. It's not all the way to 99 yet, but there's that EMP
2 seconds.
on Blitz.
1 second.
He's
somebody
on.
has to touch. Somebody does touch.
Trill did it.
Blank need this.
And there's the EMP straight on from Blitz, the one that held on to. Trill and IU up already dead. They were already there just to stagger this one out. Now Tongue as well. Huss gonna drop. DeToNator.KOREA weathering the storm, and despite the big early lead, they are gonna get that first point of Oasis.
Oh man, that could have so closely gone for Blank. Esports not quite over. Do want to give the respect over to Blank trying to keep this one in, but it will be futile. 100 to 99. That 99 Blank got so early. They had a 99 and the rest of DeToNator.KOREA on a 20%, so far behind. But at the end of the day, look, when it really mattered, it was a good play by Blank originally. What they did manage to do was they got the tanks, both Krong and Modern, down without them having the ultimates being used, because the EMP was used on top of those tanks. Now, the problem is the fact it wasn't. That's the actual key. Because the EMP wasn't used on the tanks, you didn't see the Transcendence out of Apache. He doesn't want to respond until he gets the EMP out of Huss, and then he wants to counter the EMP with his Transcendence. Because he saved it, those tanks went down because he didn't Transcendence, because he didn't want to again. And then those tanks had to come back, but that double kill from Krong changed everything.
Absolutely it did, and that was exactly what disrupted the situation for Blank as well. Maybe not so lucky this time around. Onto City Center, Blank do have to answer back here. Us? Okay, he's gonna be fine.
Both teams looking for some positioning. Apache does go down reasonably early though,
The
so
wraparound
already
again.
not looking too great for DeToNator.KOREA. The Blank wraparound works pretty well again.
And again, Modern, this is the same play that Blank pulled out just being on University rather. So, I mean, it's worked twice.
It's the Blank flank. What can I say?
The Blank tank flank, as it were. They killed Krong and Modern.
Well, they get to bank up this objective time percentage already ticking up. Note that Blank usually get the first cap across Ilios. They got the first cap twice across Oasis. Twice now again they've got their first cap, even though they didn't win University.
And Blank can thank DeToNator.KOREA for not reading that flank. Blitz, though, coming up on that EMP means, again, he leads Huss in the situation. Pressure is actually on Blank to get something done, and that EMP already coming out very, very quickly as Blank were trying to get a fight win before it was a factor. Now back onto the point, things very quickly turning pear-shaped for Blank.
And this is a problem because usually this point you can stall for a very long time. Usually onto this point, and by the way, still looking to stall Tongue, wants to continue that percentage upkeep on that objective time. And for DeToNator.KOREA, this should be a pretty quick turnaround. In fact, as soon as Blank get off, but they don't want to get off.
Yeah, and they've actually not lost members as they've individually dived in. It's only Trill and Huss coming in right at this last minute that have been the casualties here. IU up has stalled quite a bit of time. Like, this fight was lost at about 30%. This is actually quite good for Blank here. Even though it charges ultimates for DeToNator, they do actually get to charge a few of their own. They're not in a bad shape, and they get to push that point percentage up a lot further.
That's a ridiculous amount of extra momentum. In fact, it has. And that's, again, that's a huge deal because, like I kind of said this, I mean, it's a point which is very difficult to sometimes take. The staggers are real. The stall is extremely real here as well. And look at that upkeep. Blank, you'd expect them to get even further if they didn't lose so quickly in that initial engagement, but 67 or 63 will take it.
Oh, this is nice positioning out of DeToNator, but unfortunately blitz in too long, and that's a counter EMP. I mean, I say counter, it's more like a response. Good timing on that sound barrier out of Sleepy Bear. It bought them some time, and it saved Apache's life. Didn't save Krong's mech, though, and they should be able to finish him off, yeah, just here before he's able to remech. Now this is DeToNator kind of in panic mode, looking to do the same thing as what Blank just did to them with the extra stall out, but this fight has been won too decisively at this point. It will swing back the way of Blank without too much extra time, unless DeToNator want to throw ultimates into the mix here, which would not be a good call.
And they're losing too many members to get the stall continuing either as well. Didn't quite have the right ultimates. Maybe if Broden had himself a Primal Rage, then you could see DeToNator Korea attempt to get the stall continued. 48% is not nearly enough for DeToNator Korea. They got the point, then lost it nearly just as quick.
What they do have, though, here is an EMP, and again, just kind of means that EMP seesaw swings their way now. It's on Blank to find a way through that, to find a way through the fight or around the EMP. And diving onto Apache is decent, but if they overextend, that EMP is going to be dangerous. Blitz, though, yeah, he EMP'd in. But they haven't been able to get the conversion because you see those supports were just pressured out so far back by IEDWAP. That was a great fight from Blank. IEDWAP, that was 3 for him in that. Just destroyed half of that team. Also drew out so many ultimates from DeToNator. That is a well-earned point here from Blank to tie up Oasis.
Even stops Krong from remaking as well. EUP definitely pulled his weight there. You also see, though, coming up from DeToNator Korea, Blitz, man. That was weird. That was insane. Like, I don't know what he was trying to do there. The EMP was a little bit off. In fact, a little bit is probably an understatement there. Nobody else from his team was really able to capitalize onto that. It was, if it was a desperation play, then even then, it's very difficult to justify. That being said, though, fortunately, DeToNator don't get that one. They still have University, which means we do get to go to Gardens. A loss here right now on City Center at least means that DeToNator Korea get another opportunity. They're going to have to make sure they can use this.
That was very much a shoe on the other foot fight as well for Blank there. They were the ones diving Apache and Sleepy Bear, the 2 supports, and killing both of them. I suppose you could say, you know, Blank's flanks shanked DeToNator's 2 supports there.
Thanks.
Tom Hanks. At any rate, this is going to be our first, actually I lie, it's not our first Pharah, but it is a Pharah. It's a second one. That was nearly a great boot, but recoverable. Trying to get some trade back ins here. Haas is really the only one who's kind of pulled that mileage. Apache may just go down here. Krong as well is in trouble. Trillhus and IU up, they're not done just yet. Krong out of the mix, but with IU up and Hu, we're kind of out of the picture here. The rest of Blank do just have to accept that they can't take that fight, but it has given them a window for the next fight.
I love that his name is Blitz. That's exactly his style when he plays that far as well. Finally, DeToNator get that first cap. Finally, there's no Blank wrapping around the sides, catching DeToNator Korea off. It's this time around DeToNator Korea being the ones immediately onto Blank, catches them out with the Pharah, and now EUP's having to respond with the McCree.
That being said, it means we get to see EUP to McCree. That's always a joy, provided he gets the kills. When he doesn't, it's less of a joy. Huss, ooh, big rocket connect on him. He's going to have to back off for a moment. That's the pressure that IEF can put onto Blitz here. Really throws a spanner in the works. There's the EMP out as well. Good catch onto Sleepy Bear, threading the needle on that headshot. Now just wrapping around to this high ground, get a pressure out. Blitz means he can't do anything. As they had drawn Apache up into the sky as well. The self-destruct from Krong didn't really get the conversion they needed. Flashbang not quite connecting, but they've got the upper hand in this fight. It's DeToNator Korea kind of piling back onto what IU up a little bit quick to get onto it there. Will get bumped off the edge, but it's drawn Modern into the wrong side of this fight. He's now deep in Blank territory.
Blank
and IU up, yeah, he'll be the only, actually, Huss does go down very late in it, but Blank are very much in control of this fight. This is good from DeToNator Korea, though, to stall out this point, get that extra time, like what Blank just did on City Center. It does mean Blank gets to commit ultimates, but this is a bit of a spicy one.
Blitz is alive!
Barrage. He is still alive, but he also didn't get anything. It's still progress on the point, though. That's the key thing that they need here.
Oh, this is becoming a bit of a problem for Blank Esports. EUP goes down as well. He needs to stay alive because he accounts for so much of the damage. DeToNator Korea is still into this one. This is not just a stall. A stall would mean you lose the point.
Yeah.
This is them winning.
They got the res on Blitz as well, which means actually that advantage, which is only accrued thanks to who self-destruct, it's a big ultimate to commit, is now just functionally negated. Blank, they need some headway here.
EUP came in so hot as well. He landed 4 shots in a row on Blitz. That's a very hard thing to do against a pharmacy, a Pharah rather, that's so far away, but he got every single one through the healing as well.
All right, that's going to be Tung opening up with a Coalescence. EUP getting dove here, but they've kept him alive thanks to said Coalescence. Trade 1-for-1, Kira's off the table. It's kind of now or never, though, for Blake. They have to wait, bite out that self-destruct. Who will not have one to commit of his own. Hustle! EUP! Oh! Too busy, stuck in the middle of the point, standing in the thick of it, and again, removes so much damage from the table. Huss was also zoned out prior to that. He didn't get to heal up before re-entering the fight, which means he is already dead. Trill now stalling. Huwu gonna do the same with the self-destruct, but Trill's dead. Huwu is gonna be a big one. It's a nothing one. EUP is coming in, but the time it takes him to channel that Deadeye is not time that they have at their disposal. DeToNator Korea controlling this fight. Blank, you cannot sit in the middle of the point like that with that McCree. You're sitting duck, and rightfully so. DeToNator.KOREA at match point and bucking the trend of these teams training 1-for-1. That's 2 in a row for DeToNator, and the pressure is on for Blank.
And it's the sweat on the brow of Eat You Up as well. He knew the job that he had to do, and at the start, look, he just about got that job done. In fact, he did. He killed Blitz, but the problem is staying alive as a McCree on guard is so difficult. Where do you find the angles? You see him starting to move towards the point itself because he needs to find kills. He needs to find targets. He can't just sit back inside the indoor sections because you can't get enough kills there. And the problem is, Eat Up not on his usual carry hero, something like the Tracer, something even like a Widowmaker, means for him, this is also a little bit of uncharted territory for Blank. I mean, it's a little bit of uncharted territory both sides, as DeToNator.KOREA haven't seen this out of Blank, but at the same time, you see the adaptation. For a team like DeToNator.KOREA, they see the McCree, they lost Blitz once, and then every other time Eat Up comes back with the McCree, notice that he gets jumped on, notice that he gets pushed out.
And that's the tricky thing. If he was able to hang back, when they were able to just protect him a bit, he was able to get the work done. But there always comes a point where you have to take the risk and kind of step out, get into the thick of it. And that was always the point at which DeToNator were able to catch him, able to strike back, able to find some way in. And unfortunately, prior to that point, Blank had never quite got enough mileage to close out the fight from that point on. But Oasis has been and gone. Match point it may be, but these teams have traded so many games so far. We go to Hollywood next. This is not all over for Blank. Don't ever begin to believe that.
This is definitely an uncomfortable place to be for them, though, and finally it's DeToNator.KOREA. They get that sigh of relief. Note that for DeToNator.KOREA to actually win this evening, they have to buck that trend. They have to make sure they can get 2 in a row, because if it is Blank going 1-for-1, then Blank eventually win on map 7. This way around, we could still see a map number 7, but Blank would have to come back big time on Hollywood.
But that's the truth as well. It's still not out of the woods here for DeToNator.KOREA as much as they have bucked that trend, because of course, you still got to win 1 more. You could just lose the next 2, like what Blank just did. And hey, they did it when there was still at least a little bit of room to breathe, right? I mean, it's uncomfortable to not be able to lose anymore, but we can still very much see Blank swing back. I almost expect to see them swing back.
The psychological factor here is that if this was a best of 5, Blank would already lose. We would already be crowning DeToNator.KOREA as the Pacific champions. However, this is a best of 7, which means there is comeback potential here. It's weird to say comeback because there's only a 1-map difference, but only one team is on match point.
And this is another one of those situations. Both teams actually have a 100% win rate here. The only difference being DeToNator have played this map 1 more time than Blank. But of course, one of these 2 teams is going to lose that record here. It was Blank losing that record earlier on Dorado, where both teams were at 100% win rate until Blank lost it. This one could be the other way around.
Let's also consider something about tempo here as well, because a lot of the times it's been DeToNator.KOREA responding compositionally to what Blank are doing. It's usually been someone like Blitz saying, I'm not going to play the Genji here, let me swap onto the Sombra to play with Huss 1-to-1 mano to mano. But then you go on the other side when Blank are the ones that say they have to change. When they're pressured to change up their compositions, Eat You Up on McCree once again. Starts off well, but gets countered so quickly by DeToNator.KOREA. Blank don't want to be the ones to have to react to what DeToNator.KOREA want to do. Blank need to be the ones playing their game and playing it well.
You know, mano a mano actually means hand to hand, not man to man. A lot of people don't know that.
Oh, they can shake hands with Sombras.
Yeah. Sombra handshake. Very somber indeed. Zahim, yeah, trying to get cheeky on the flank there. Does not pay off, and now Modern's in very deep as well. This is a little bit rough. They only lost Tongue in that Kura. Finally going down there, but I mean, the respawn's closer for Blank. They've already been able to get onto the point while this has all been going on as well. This is a little bit rough for DeToNator.
Yeah, this is the kind of thing where this kind of early aggressive play can work quite well, but if it backfires, you can lose a lot as well. So far, DeToNator.KOREA have not lost that much.
Yeah.
Haven't even lost any percentage on that cap just yet. That's the most important thing. They also have respect for the Blank Esports side to say, we are getting traded here. We need to fall backwards because Blank have better spawns.
And the thing that paid off for DeToNator there, once again, was killing Kura and Tongue, because it meant Chill and Huwu were actually too low to take advantage of the members of DeToNator that they had killed earlier in that same scrap. And that gave DeToNator time to reset. This time, though, it's already fishing with that Dragon Blade. They've got Tongue. Kura low, but this time it looks like he's going to be able to survive as Blitz going to have to put the blade away. Pop Modern as well. They do catch you up though. Blank's still a lot in the tank here as the tank's looking to go forwards with that Primal Rage available as well. Kura staying topped off means he will have a sound barrier.
Trill's in.
Yeah, here's the commit. Here's the dive from Blank. Trill's in with that Primal Rage. Does get a little bit pressured, has to respect the damage, but they're on the point. They've got the third. Now they can respawn, come back in. Here's the EMP. They can just kind of keep layering these ultimates on. Hold on a tick though. DeToNator answering back with a couple. Kura, no sound barrier. Man, I mean, you wanted to commit that, but really you wanted to commit it early. I can respect being conservative, but it means they only get a third where they could have actually capped out.
Well, the problem is the sound barrier into a self-destruct isn't going to be good enough. So the self-destruct already did the damage, which means if you want a sound barrier after that, you're playing at a disadvantage. You can also now kind of see Kura's decision there to keep the sound barrier to allow them to come to the next fight. Double support ultimates could be the right play to make, especially since that Blitz doesn't quite have a Dragon Blade yet. Now is a very good time for Blank to commit.
Zahim looking for a wraparound, and there it is. They catch Kura. They know their priority targets, and every single time they execute on them. Yeah, Tongue looking to be next, but he's got a Transcendence. Unlike Kura, who wasn't able to get that sound barrier off. They've killed Apache as well, now starting to get the conversion that they need. That's Blitz. Krong in trouble, backs out. Modern will not be able to Primal Rage. Here is a big window for Blank now. Going to barrel straight onto the point. Should be able to close it out off the back of that.
And Tongue surviving, using the Transcendence as well to counter the aggression so important. Allows Blank Esports to stay into this fight. Now they get to trade back that pressure on the supports of DeToNator.KOREA. That's what it feels like to lose your so quickly.
This is interesting. DeToNator.KOREA are committing ultimates.
Blitz down.
Well, yeah, Blitz is down. They do draw out that sound barrier from Kura that he had held onto for so long, but that's a good trade for Blank because they got the Coalescence, the Dragon Blade, and the Valkyrie.
Note that was about 1 minute remaining. The 60-second timer just came up. Blank, get that cap. Still have 3 ultimates. Blitz now changing freshly onto the Sombra. And that kind of means he's going to be a fair bit behind to him on the Widowmaker as well. Means you need to see DeToNator.KOREA set up early on the high ground. That's not going to happen because Blank are there first.
Blank are there first, and they have cycled into their own EMP. This is where that seesaw begins. There's the quick commit, looking for the dive, Pop and Sleepy Bear. Modern out of the picture. Ideally, they want to get Krong, but they'll be happy to take Blitz and Zahim instead. They keep the cart moving, and they keep possession of that high ground.
And Trill gets himself 3 kills in the middle of that as well. EU going down is a little bit of an annoyance, but at the same time, like you mentioned, because the cart continues moving, Blank don't mind losing 1 player there. Look at where it is now. The hardest point of this map is already being passed. That's where Tahim has excellent sightlines as a Widow. Every other place now to fight doesn't quite offer that.
Modern looking to get aggressive, and there's the conversion. Tongue just shy of that Transcendence that would have saved his life as well. Good hack out onto Modern though. They could trade this one. In fact, should be able to trade this out. There he goes. Who can commit a self-destruct to preserve that mech, and in hand indeed does so. Huss as well able to stay alive is crucial. They've weathered the storm here. That means Blank can start getting aggressive in their own right. You already see Huru and Trill starting to move back forward. Great hack onto Krong there. They can close him out just before he uses a self-destruct. That is a really big window that Blank earned themselves there, and now just looking to keep up pressure, keep up distance.
And I also noticed that Tahim hasn't gotten any kills yet as a Widowmaker. Part of that is because Trill has actually been keeping tabs on him. Every time Tahim wants to pick, Trill's been there, and now Modern's down.
Yeah, Modern's down as Krong gets back into the mech, so they're still disrupting these 2 tanks. Self-destruct buys DeToNator a little bit of time and space, but they can't do much with it. Actually, they did catch both those DPSs. There is a bit of a window here. For the first time, they have both these tanks, but Blank's tanks have more in the pocket. They've still got more to go off, and Huru is still Huru. They're still going to get kills off the back of this. EMP from Blitz comes in. It feels almost a little late because there's no one here to really kill these tanks before they'll get a chance to
they're dying though.
Actually, yeah, they do finish off Trill. Looking to get Huru as well. Preserves the self-destruct, I think, smartly so. DeToNator, turns out the EMP was just what they needed.
And Trill didn't get to use his ultimate, neither did Huru. They had the resources, but could not commit them. Maybe they were hacked. Maybe they made a mistake. Either way, though, Blank do not get to finish B, at least not yet. It was going to be a good play from DeToNator.KOREA no matter what, though. If you EMP, certainly you're going to pressure Blank to make something happen. They might have to use ultimates. If Blank have a very expensive fight to try and cap B, that's still worth it for DeToNator.
That hack didn't quite connect onto Kura, and that's Huss aggressive. They know that Blitz isn't quite back with the team. They convert. There's Apache down already. Pressure on Trill, but not anywhere near enough to pop him down. This should be Blank able to close this one out. And actually popping Huss sky high kind of saves him out there. He's also got the control of that larger health pack, tops off his health just fine. And Blank well set up for that fight. It was always going to be uphill.
Oh, are they though?
Oh, Jiminy Merry Christmas! Where did that come from, Krong? There's still a few members of Blank here, though. They do still have Trill and Kura in the mix as well, who may be able to get back into this, but Krong may have just saved the day here. 10 seconds as well. I think he has.
Who doesn't even have a mech? This is disastrous.
98%. Oh, no! Right as it came back up, Kura's going to have to be the one who buys time. They only need to keep him off that payload. There he is onto it. Buys over time, but trades his life for it. Now the rest of Blank have to pile in. Hustler's on. IDU up as well, but Hustler's already dead. Now it's IDU up, trying to buy the time. They've got Tongue back in, but they're waiting for Hugo and Trill. Those are the crucial members, but by the time the tanks get there, the DPSs are dead. That means the tanks are going to get dropped straight back down as well. The control of the space for DeToNator by the skin of the teeth, and at no point on the front foot they do hold out. This is now backs against the wall for Blank.
And now, I've already said this once tonight, but I don't even care at this point. Blank in the Krong place of the Krong time. It is ridiculous. 4 kills, including a D-Mech, and then Morin securing Huru before he gets his own remake. Huss doesn't even get there in time. Kura doesn't get there in time. No one from Blank could touch the cart long enough to continue that offense. It was all over when that big explosion happened.
When's Huru going to get his one? That's the one thing this series has been missing, is Huru having his own crazy, 3, 4, 5K self-destruct. It's been Krong. It's been Krong getting them. The 4K there, the 2K to save Oasis. He's been the one that's been getting them. As much as Huru has been such a difference maker in the dives and in the set plays, in all the other situations, the hero plays from Krong are making the difference in the map score.
Now let me be very clear about something. This is map number 6. This is DeToNator.KOREA on match point. This is DeToNator.KOREA full holding on B, which means Blank now, they got to do even better than that. They got to get a full hold on A, or they're going to be put in a very, very bad spot. Blank's entire season now rests upon this one very defense. I cannot understate how important this is right now. The weight on their shoulders is immense.
And I think this is the first time we have genuinely seen one of these two teams step it up just that little bit higher. Fights that Blank has won in the past, they did not win that time around. That is why DeToNator were able to hold them on B. That's why the cap never went through, and that is why DeToNator have poised themselves to close out the finals on this very offense.
It is make or break now, most importantly for Blank, and they're staring down their very narrow tunnel of losing to another Korean team in the playoffs. This time, though, it hurts so much more. It's in the grand finals, and this is not where they want to go down.
And this is the time that Blank felt, we can do this. This can be our season. The teams that have kept us down before are no longer here, but doesn't matter where and when you fail. In the finals earlier, doesn't matter if you don't make it over the line. Trading now in this early fight. Trill barely staying alive again. Huru, you'll call him the difference maker. Backing up now. Just trying to take possession of the point. They get to res Krong, and he does get to remix. This is a slight numbers advantage for DeToNator, and they've got the wrap around here from Blitz.
All right, Eat Up is low right now, so he's got to get himself healed back up.
Oh, nice.
Krong's D-Mech for the second time, just by the way. Huss about to get the EMP. This could be it for Blank. If they get this EMP off, they can secure the defense.
And DeToNator had given themselves a window, but Blank realized it and disrupted.
Huss low.
Oh, no. Oh, dear. They can still hold this. Blank did disrupt DeToNator enough, but DeToNator, they want to take this opportunity. Don't know if they can, though.
2 minutes 45 now. It's getting a little bit dangerous. Huss will definitely get back to the point in time. Full holding on A, it is certainly doable. You've seen Blank do it before. You've seen Blank really play out of their minds. Let's cast your mind back to OWC Season 2. This is the Huru 5K that got them that win on Hollywood once.
Once upon a time. I mean, hey, yeah, I'm having those flashbacks. There's the EMP. They need to get that quick follow-up, though. Apache able to stay alive. They've got Blitz, though. That's something. It's a trade. It's not ideal when Tongue low, trying to stay alive. This is looking a little dicey for Blank. Where's that Huru?
Oh, no, Primal!
No one ever. Yeah, just shy of the Primal. Sleepy Bear also gets to res Blitz back into the fray. Huru didn't even get to self-destruct. They had to give up that point, and now the long hold begins. Now their watch starts.
This is the longest night, right? This is when DeToNator.KOREA use their Ice Strike. I'm sorry, that's spoilers, but they're going to break through the wall. That's all I'm trying to say right now. Look, it's your fault if you haven't kept up by this point.
Fair.
It's been a few years. Look, Blank Esports now, this is the defense. This has got to be it. There's a lot of time, 4 minutes and 12 seconds. Blank, if they weren't going to hold A, they needed to draw it into overtime. They needed to push DeToNator Korea to that point to be able to make this B-hold really count. Now they got to do something that is so difficult.
If anyone could do it, it's Blank. It's a tall order. Very tall order indeed. Sound barrier in. Trying to get that early advantage on the hold. Krong, again, conversion on that self-destruct. We've seen who will hold on to so many. They got Tongue as well. I mean, they're just playing the same beats, right?
Man,
if it ain't broke, don't fix it. They've got Hus as well. They're going to take all the ground. Even less room to work with now, Blank.
Well, that's the other thing, Blank. If they had held that early positioning, if they had that dive in there, maybe survive, maybe get some counter trades. Yes, DeToNator Korea did have ultimate, so at least they got that. But for Blank, they need to stall up that card. It's so close already. Look at the enders right there.
And Blank actually still have to fight to take this ground off DeToNator, who was set up. Blank just funneled themselves into a confined space. This could backfire. Oh, Tongue's already dead. Blitz is leading Hus in that ult charge, but there's the conversion onto Krong. That forces DeToNator Korea out that space. They can't stand it too long, but I hate you up. And this draws Modern to Hus. Hus is possibly going to go down. No, out by the skin of his teeth here. And Trill with that Primal Rage is giving them time in the fight, but not anymore. He's dead. So is Kura. It's just Huwu. They might not get another chance after this.
We need more Blank members. The gap is right there.
Coalescence has the EMP, double EMP actually, but it's Blank converting off it. They could not have picked a later moment to finally get their first fight win on Hollywood.
You got to be on the edge of your seats right now because the cart is on the edge of that point. Blank have to play perfectly now. Not a single mistake. They cannot even lose members if they lose too many, and without getting trades, DeToNator Korea are gonna get it, and they got the time to get it with.
Us looking for some kind of assassination. Needs to be careful.
Looks like the hack.
Yeah, needs to not get hacked out himself as well, and not really getting too much ult charge off that. Unfortunately, has to just pull back. Oh, detected. May have stuck in the spot for too long.
Right now, though,
get out.
yeah, he's some damage. You need to be charging. He's barely staying ahead of Blitz, but here comes DeToNator Korea. Transcendence in. Sound barrier in. They got this.
Ooh, he's able to pull up to the high ground, but there's the follow-up from Modern, who will get the conversion. And they've got all those ultimates at their disposal. Blank have got nothing. There's nothing to use here. Who's out of the mech? Kura, sound barrier, where is it? He's got to commit it now, but he's only keeping himself and these DPSs alive. They've got to get more. It's only blitzed out. And even if Modern and Krong get low, they've got the ults to preserve the life. And even then, a minute and a half here, I think this might be it. I ate you up, trying to get a pulse bomb in, no connection, and he loses his life. Trill drilled down once again, gonna lose his life as well. Huslow, Tongue trying to re-enter.
So
the self-destruct from Krong. Huwu, he's got to get it. This has got to be the one. No, he was hacked. He couldn't use the self-destruct, and they're still moving the cart. Where are Blank's members? They're just not there. It's at match point. Backs against the wall. Last chance. Not going to make it. It's Eat You Up. It's Trill. The last members on the payload. And at the end of the Royal Road is a first place trophy. DeToNator Korea are your Season 1 Pacific Contenders champions.
And what a fitting way to end this. Reminder that OWC Season 1, that's when you first saw Blank Esports and the DeToNator organization. The very first match of that season was between Blank and also DeToNator, and now we finish here the very last match of Contenders Pacific Season 1. Back then, it was DeToNator's loss. Different lineup this time around. Full Korean squad. They've been hungry for a win. They couldn't make it through Apex challenges. Now they're here in Contenders, and they take it away from Blank. The crownless kings will be crownless once again.
The second time now, Blank's first place hopes have been dashed by a Korean newcomer to the Pacific scene. Last time it wasn't a semi-final. This time it is in a final. And they will be feeling that one. After opening, drawing first blood, trading those maps back and forth, DeToNator Korea taking that lead on Oasis, pushing themselves to match point, and then that gorgeous hold on Hollywood that set the stage for what was ultimately their victory, and a well-deserved one at that. Their final handshake, their final bow of the season. That has got to be the best feeling in the world.
Yeah, that's got to be the sweetest one, right? Of all the handshakes they've collected, and I assure you there have been many, that one was the best. And now some words from the winners. DeToNator Korea, once again, the champions, Contenders Pacific Season 1. A bit of a delay before we get into that post-match interview.
You can see they can barely contain the excitement there.
再次恭喜 DeToNator.KOREA 获得了斗阵特工太平洋职业竞技赛第一季季后赛的
So once again, congratulations to DeToNator.KOREA for winning first place. Season 1 in the
那我
Pacific.
们这边也特别邀请到了 Sleepy Bear 来做赛后访问，先请他跟大家
wanted
打
to
声招
introduce
呼吧。
Sleepy Bear here to start the interview.
네, 저는 지금 디토네이터 KR에서 플렉스를 맡고 있는 슬리피 베어라고 합니다.
他说：“大家好，我是
So I am DeToNator.KOREA's Flex Support Sleepy Bear.
Sleepy Bear 你好，我这边先问一个简单的问题好了，因为刚刚打非常的久，想必现在也非常的累。那想要问一下，你现在心情如何呢？
So I want to ask an easy question. That was a long game. You must be tired, but how are you feeling now?
조금 아쉬운 것도 있긴 한데 그래도 팀들 모두 잘해서 정말 기분이 좋습니다.
他说就是有一些可惜的地方，但是
There were some mistakes there,
队员们都做得
some
很好，所以
regrets,
就是还是非常非常的开
but
心。
overall we won, so I'm happy about
其
that.
实今天表现的真的非常厉害，而且也很精彩哦！谢谢带给我们这么厉害的比赛。那今天打了这么多局下来，我想要问你们觉得制胜关键是什么呢？
So that it definitely showed your commitment there, and you played a lot of maps though. So what do you think made the difference at the end of the day?
DeToNator 팀이 이길 수 있는 관건이 무엇인지.
일단 저희 팀은 일단 오더와 궁 체크 그리고 피지컬이 좋아서 이겼다고 생각합니다.
他觉得是首先呢，就是他们的就是整体的操控，然后还有就是他们在团队合作，然后还有他们整体就是选手的能力都非常好，所以才能就是让他们制胜。
And putting that all together is how we come together as a team.
是没有办法拿到今天的胜利的。那最后我想要问的是，一直以来有这么多的粉丝亲友支持着你们，甚至今天有粉丝来到了现场，有什么话想要对他们说的吗？
So over the course of the season, you've had fans supporting you right from day one. Now some of those fans are here in the stadium. What would you like to say?
이 한국 대회를 안 뛰고 있는데도 열심히 응원해 주시고 있는 한국 팬분들께도 진짜 너무 감사하고 일본에 있는 팬분들도 감사하고 항상 응원해 주시는 가족과 제 친구들 정말 감사합니다.
对，就是他们现在就是即使他们不是在韩国联赛，但是还是有很多的粉丝就是在那个直播上面看我们的表演，然后还有就是在日本的所有粉丝也谢谢大家，然后还有很多就是支持我们的家人啊，就是非常非常谢谢大家支持。
也非常感谢大家的支持，也再度恭喜 DeToNator.KOREA 拿下了今天的总冠军，恭喜！
Once again, congratulations to DeToNator.KOREA for taking the championship Overwatch Contenders Pacific Season 1.
不要走开了，因为稍晚还有抽奖的环节。那线上的聊天室朋友们，你们也千万不要走开，因为之后还有精彩的沙发区赛后访问。我们休息一下。
And don't go anywhere because after this, there is also a couch interview. But with that, let's recap our playoffs here. You see the journey that the teams have made. I'm going to talk about DeToNator.KOREA first. The 3-0 again against Logitech G. A bang, followed by semi-final sweep against Mega Esports. Another returning team from OPC. And a 4-2 victory against Blank Esports.
And all the returning teams that fell, of course, there was a match earlier on. But more importantly, you saw Blank overcoming Talon, then overcoming Hong Kong Attitude, one of their longest running rivals in the Pacific region. But once again now, second time they appeared in a finals in the Pacific region, and unfortunately for Blank, second time they fell short. Map record says it all so close, traded back and forth, but that win on Oasis that tipped the balance towards DeToNator.KOREA, and Blank not quite able to answer back. A 4-2 result to close it all out and win their title.
And at the end of the day, it was that momentum that broke it right. The straw that broke the camel's back was DeToNator winning back-to-back, and then, of course, off the momentum as well, claiming that third map win victory all in a row to secure that 4-2. That was quite the series, and Blank at various stages looked like they were going to get it, but man, DeToNator.KOREA, you got to say, we had questions about what does it look like for DeToNator.KOREA to be behind, because there were times they were definitely behind. Fight or flight, these guys are fighters.
And it's funny, in a way, the one question we had never asked is Mega Series notwithstanding, what do Blank look like when they truly get pushed? Because last time they were in that situation, they overcame Mega. They won that best of 5, the 3-2 result. But this time around, when the pressure was high for them, unlike DeToNator.KOREA, they just didn't have that extra little bit left in the tank here. And that's been the difference maker. These two teams have pushed each other harder and farther than anyone else in this tournament. There was no more fitting a final. And I think that can tell us, sure as anything, that there is no more fitting a victor of that final.
And that's the thing, right? Because these have been the 2 best teams across the entire season. The 2 teams we've wanted to see play for so long. The teams have wanted to play each other. DeToNator from day one have said, look, Blank, they're our closest rivals here. They're the team that we want to play, and they're the team that we want to beat, and beat they did right at the end when it mattered. This is a team that from day number 1, you could see this roster, you could see who was on it, you could see them coming into this so hot and saying, okay, ever since their complete wash of open division where they basically went undefeated except for 1 match. This is a team you got to look out for, and every single returning team has to keep their eyes peeled for this one, because DeToNator.KOREA, they had a statement to make, and that was a big statement indeed.
And they've set themselves up now as one of the big dogs among those other returning teams from previous Pacific circuits, among them teams that have finally kind of put themselves into that upper echelon, the likes of Mega. There are still so many teams in this region hungry to claim a spot in their own right. So even these 2 teams here, Blank, DeToNator.KOREA, they cannot rest in their laurels. Season 2 will bring new challenges, new teams, the same old teams looking for those wins. Hong Kong Attitude looking to dethrone Blank, Mega looking to push the threshold even further. Matchy still looking for that redemption. But for now, for today, DeToNator.KOREA can take the win, they can enjoy it, and they can hold it close to their chest because it is theirs.
The retrospective of the season as well is so big. I mean, everything was just incredibly well played. You've had a new face here, Singaporean team. First time Singapore's been represented at this level of gameplay. Then you also have 4 teams from Thailand. That is ridiculous. That's the most that we've seen represented from one nation in the past. You have returning teams, Blank, you have returning teams, Hong Kong Attitude looking better than ever. Machi looked better than ever. Mega looked better than ever. You have so many old stories, so many new stories. Even the teams that got eliminated so early. One Shine will remember. Bellows Doomfist is just so memorable. Chaos Theory, again, the Singaporean team came back with that 2 wins right at the end. One against Machi Esports. One that people probably thought they weren't going to be able to get. Bizarre. One of the only other teams to get that map win against DeToNator.KOREA in that group stage. A bang. The student team, not even full-time professionals, taking matches off of everyone. It's just been a hell of a season, and I can't wait for the next.
And of those teams that did unfortunately get relegated, whether we see them again or whether we see brand new bloods, who's to say? But of course, the key story on top of all of those other things was DeToNator.KOREA's Royal Road, as it has now come to fruition. And such a great achievement as well for this team and for the organization as a whole. You mentioned it there. Blank was actually the first team DeToNator ever played in the Pacific circuit. That was in OPC Season 1. That's more than a year ago now. And DeToNator Gold, as they were at the time, bottomed out of that season. Didn't get a chance to make it back for Season 2. They were not able to re-qualify. But finally, not only did they qualify, not only did they power their way through open division, not only did they have that Royal Road all the way to the finals, they then got to beat the team that handed them their first ever loss. That has got to be a good feeling.
Yeah, certainly for the organization who stuck it through, right? They've been here as long as Blank. You might not have even heard of them because they didn't get to come back to OPC. They dropped out. They couldn't re-qualify into OPC Season 2, not with their gold team and not even with their Korean team, which, by the way, was a whole different roster back then. They then went into Apex Challenges. They couldn't quite make it out of there either. Had some decent results, nothing too big to write home about. They were looking for something big here. They needed something big. They started to get very good. When Contenders came around, that was their calling card, and they have looked so good here. And now, again, this is one of those teams that their stay here now becomes immortal. They've been immortalized because they have won.
Absolutely. We have ourselves a new titan in the Pacific season, kind of established as that space opened up. So many hungry teams to claim it, but it's DeToNator.KOREA who have earned themselves that spot. Now with that all said and done, we'll go ahead and catch up just a little bit more with DeToNator Korea here. A few more words from our victors.